because the thing with Asian is not, because it's not like, it's not just based on like skin color. It's not just based. We have our own separate identities, our own separate cultures. Each person comes from a different country. You're Korean, or you're Chinese, or you're Vietnamese, or whatever. And I feel like a good thing for everyone to do is just kind of let those barriers drop and just kind of realize that, hey, we're all in it together. I think Asians, our population is just so fragmented, and how we deal with that, I can't give you an answer, you know?
I would just hope that there would be more opportunity for Asian actors out there, because there is a wide there is a lot of talent out there, especially in New York City, you know, and a lot of the, I don't know if this is appropriate, but a lot of, like we talked about earlier, the Asian American companies, they just tend to recycle actors, which can be really hard to kind of get your foot in the door.
The thing that I keep hearing when it comes to being an Asian American actor and casting is they say, well, if you're having problems finding good stories for Asian American characters, then you should be on the vanguard of writing Asian American stories. Writing stories for Asian Americans to be in. And at that point, those good stories will sooner or later make it to the masses, and then the masses will sooner or later begin to accept that Asian American identity as one of their own, and welcome it, and slowly the money and the powers that be, it'll get to you that way, which is a great theory, and I have no problem with that. I think that it's an avenue, it's a route, and why shouldn't it be tried? The problem, the catch-22 that I see in it is that when you do that, when you write a really good story about Asian American characters that have Asian Americans in them, then what you've got is an Asian American story. Who is going to see those stories? It's amazing, and this is what goes back to. Then we're looking at, you can submit those stories to NATCO, MAI, Pan Asian Theater Company, Rep. Then you're just getting accepted by Asian American theater companies. It's not like the public is grasping for the next Asian American story, because if they were, they would find it. It's out there.
I totally stay away from like all of the Asian like arts organizations in New York. I've like tried to go to like a couple events, and I feel so like I belong less there than like on the streets of New York. And so, and I'm not a political person, and I don't want to make what I do, like acting and arts, like political. I don't want it to like have a political mandate in that way, and be like part of a campaign, you know, because that's just not what I want to do. And I feel like the thing, like to me, whatever is true is like what's artistically true, and you can always go home to that, you know, in terms of, because if you're actually like actively filtering out all Asians and being like, I'm not hanging out with any of them, then you're still being affected by it, right? Like I think like if you don't compromise the art and what's true, which you can always go home to and figure out by yourself, like within yourself, then I think, to me, like that's how I try to like navigate between like the extremes.